Has Star Wars and Lucasfilm cast their live-action versions of Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger? Is Die Hard 6 officially canceled? And what's with that prequel movie that's coming from the Predator franchise entitled Skull? All that coming up right now. Hey everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're finding me for the very first time, or if you're a returning viewer and you've not yet done so, please click that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. So I've got a little bit of movie news for you guys today, so let's get right into the first topic here. This comes to us from the Direct. Ahsoka star Rosario Dawson celebrates Thrawn and Ezra casting rumor on social media. The release window for Star Wars Ahsoka remains unknown, but there's been significant movement on the pre-production front. Set within the timeline of The Mandalorian, Rosario Dawson will return in a new live-action adventure following the adventures of Ahsoka Tano. When fans last saw her, the former Jedi was on the hunt for a formidable adversary last seen in Star Wars Rebels, Grand Admiral Thrawn. The implication was clear here. Ahsoka is fulfilling her promise to find her lost friend Ezra Bridger, and Thrawn was the last man he was spotted with. Rumors in past months have suggested that Ahsoka will be taking the place of the previously conceived animated sequel to Rebels, which has since been reworked into the live-action show. Word in the local watering hole is that Dave Filoni is well into the process, and it shouldn't be long until the series is underway. But who will be playing these characters in question is just as important as how they'll be involved. It was previously reported that Mina Musaad had been cast to play Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka, and news has since surfaced that Lars Mikkelsen will return to the role of Thrawn for a crack at the live-action interpretation. While there has been no official word on the casting, the star of the show has offered her thoughts on what's to come. On her Instagram story, actress Rosario Dawson has shared a post celebrating the rumored castings of Mina Musaad and Lars Mikkelsen for Ahsoka as Ezra Bridger and Thrawn respectively. Social media posts by performers are by no means official announcements, though, but Rosario Dawson has a bit of a rebellious streak when it comes to Star Wars. When word first broke that the actress would be bringing Ahsoka to life in The Mandalorian Season 2, Dawson was quoted as saying, "I'm very excited for that to be confirmed at some point," unintentionally letting the loth cat out of the bag about her casting. This Instagram post seems to be a continuation of her revelatory trend. Enough reputable sources have reported on the casting as Musaad and Mikkelsen to suggest that things are as good as a done deal, but Lucasfilm is known for keeping their cards close to the vest when it comes to the news regarding live-action projects. With Dawson commenting on the castings, things have escalated to a point beyond being rumors, so the next big question is when the castings will become official, and if a production start and result date will accompany them. With The Mandalorian Season 3 now widely being reported as in the midst of production, it's conceivable that cameras could begin rolling for Ahsoka before 2021's end, in which case the event series could be ready for streaming in late 2022. The future is bright for Star Wars on Disney Plus, and Ahsoka is a large part of that. The Mandalorian kicked off a journey that expanded the live-action universe in significant ways, and Rosario Dawson will lead the fray in taking things to the next level, hopefully with Musaad and Mikkelsen at her side. And of course, just to give you a little bit of a background of who these two actors are. Mina Musaad is most well known for playing Aladdin in the live-action, remake of that film, the old Disney classic that they released just about a year or two ago, or whatever it was. He played Aladdin in that film. So he will be the one that seems to be cast for the role of Ezra Bridger. And I think it makes a lot of sense. He looks a lot like the character, and he did a great job in Aladdin. I think he'll do a great job with Ezra Bridger. And of course, putting him in a Jedi role, I think could be a very good place to put him. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Now, when it comes to Lars Mikkelsen, most of you may know his brother, Mads Mikkelsen, who was in like a James Bond film. He's supposed to be coming up in the new Fantastic Beasts 3 and things like that. He was in Rogue One. Rogue One. Mads Mikkelsen played the girl's father in the movie. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. But yes, that family is no stranger to Star Wars. And of course, Lars Mikkelsen played, Grand Admiral Thrawn on the series Rebels. He voiced the character. So it's only fitting that character that actor gets a chance to play the live action version of the role. Obviously, you can't do that with everybody. I mean, Ashley Eckstein didn't get a comeback as Ahsoka Tano. And of course, Vanessa Marshall could still maybe come back to play Hera. You never know. But her and, Freddie Prinze Jr., they've both gone on to voice their characters from Rebels in the Bad Batch as well. So it seems like, Star Wars is trying to keep it in the family, so to speak, a little bit when it comes to Lars Mikkelsen. And I think he'll do a great job when it comes to voicing Thrawn. And we'll get to see a little bit of his acting chops here. His brother's got some great acting chops as well. And of course, Lars Mikkelsen, I'm sure, is a great actor in his own right. But I think these two casting choices make a lot of sense. And if they end up being true, as the article states, it's not official yet. But then again, for a long time, we kind of knew that the Obi-Wan series was going to be happening, and of course it come out that was actually true. So that could very well be what happens here. We're just going to have to wait and see, but I'm excited to see this, and I hope we get the Thrawn trilogy from the old novels, kind of an interpretation of that here after Return of the Jedi, in the proper timeline that Grand Admiral Thrawn was conceived for. So I can't wait to see what they do with that story moving forward. All right, let's move on to the next story of the day, and that is, of course, this article that comes to us from Screen Rant. Die Hard officially not happening. The 6th installment is officially canceled. The long-rumored 6th installment in the Die Hard series, titled McClane, is officially dead, according to producer Lorenzo de Bonaventura. The possibility of the 6th film has been circulating since the 5th film, A Good Day to Die Hard, was released in 2013, despite Bruce Willis previously stating that he wished to retire from the role of John McClane, which he has played since 1988. And to be honest, that last installment, A Good Day to Die Hard, was terrible. I actually liked the other 4 films, including Live Free or Die Hard, but A Good Day to Die Hard was it was pretty bad. Numerous versions of the film were floated over the years, including a version titled Old Habits Die Hard. Whew, yikes. However, none of those plans came to fruition. A television series in the vein of 24 was also considered and would have followed John McClane as a beat cop in the 1970s and have featured narration from Bruce Willis as McClane in the present day. Plans for the prequel film did remain active, though, with de Bonaventura's version beginning to gain traction in 2018 at 20th Century Fox. The project would have allegedly involved Willis in the present day alongside a different actor playing a young John McClane. The project would also have brought back McClane's ex-wife Holly, and actress Mary Elizabeth Winstead had also stated she'd be open to returning as McClane's daughter Lucy. Since Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox, plans had reportedly stalled, but fans remain hopeful that McClane would remain active. That no longer seems to be the case, however. During an interview with Polygon about Snake Eyes' release, de Bonaventura confirmed that his version of McClane is, quote, not happening as a result of the Disney-Fox merger. The producer didn't rule out the potential of another film or series in the future, adding that he doesn't know what their plans are, just that his film is no longer active. De Bonaventura did expand on what McClane would have entailed, though. He confirmed that it would have been both a prequel and a sequel, noting that it would, quote, allow you the ability to meet the young John McClane and use Bruce. You sort of got to see both versions of him in the movie, and likened it to The Godfather Part 2. Interestingly, though, he also added that originally the concept for the 6th Die Hard film didn't start out as such. Rather, it was a project that wasn't Die Hard that then eventually shifted over to Die Hard. So, yeah, it seems like this was kind of on shaky ground to begin with here. And, of course, Bruce Willis is, I think he's just, to steal a line from another cop film, he's getting a little too old for this stuff. So it seems like, he just wants to let the McClane character go. And to be honest, after, like I said, that 5th film that was not very good, that was, based mostly in Russia, I like the fact that they brought in his son, for sure. But I didn't like that film. I thought it was very poorly executed. And it just didn't feel like a Die Hard movie. There was a movie that came out, Olympus Has Fallen, that came out before, it was that year, the same year that Die Hard 5 came out, and I thought Olympus Has Fallen was a better Die Hard film than Die Hard was. So, I mean, it just seems like it's time to let this series go. Unfortunately, it sounds like the Die Hard franchise is going to come to an end here, at least with Bruce Willis. Now, does Disney and Fox maybe have plans to restart the franchise with maybe a series or another movie down the line? De Bonaventura thinks that could be possible. He don't know what their plans are, but it doesn't seem to fit the Disney mold. Now, if they want to go a little more on the Fox side of things and maybe make some films, more R-rated, which I hope some of these properties like Alien and things like that, and we're going to get into 1, 2 here in a minute, that Disney, I think, technically owns, that would probably, benefit from an R rating. We still could see Die Hard again, but it sounds like the Bruce Willis interpretation of John McClane is probably over, and maybe you could recast it kind of like a James Bond type character, and a new actor could come in and make the movie his own. But we'll just have to wait and see what they do with the Die Hard franchise. But it sounds like as of right now, the series is officially over, and it sounds like it's just time, at least for the time being, until the time is right. And then maybe you could try it again. But personally, I think I'd be okay with never seeing another Die Hard movie again. 1 through 4 are some of the best, Die Hard movies. Well, obviously, they're the best in the series, but to me, some of the best action movies in the world. And some people don't like 4, but I was actually a fan of Live Free or Die Hard, especially the R-rated version, not the PG-13 movie they put out in theaters, but the R-rated cut was actually a lot better. But rest in peace, Die Hard. Thank you for the memories. I guess it has finally died. So, all right, let's move on to the final and last topic of the video here. And that, of course, comes to us also from Screen Rant here. Apparently, without any of us knowing, Predator was filming yet another movie. Predator 5 is a prequel about their first visit to Earth, so at least the concept sounds a little interesting. Predator 5 will explore the alien species' first visit to Earth. Dan Trachtenberg, forgive me if I butcher that, of 10 Cloverfield Lane, had been developing a movie entitled Skull in 2019 that would be set during the Civil War and would follow a Comanche woman who goes against gender norms and traditions to become a warrior. In 2020, however, Skull was revealed to be the next film in the Predator franchise, with Amber Mid-Thunder cast in the lead role. I hadn't heard a single thing about this movie up to this point, so it definitely went under my radar for sure. The Predator franchise has had an interesting history in film. The original in 1987 starred Arnold Schwarzenegger and was a box office hit that led to the 1991 sequel, Predator 2, starring Danny Glover. However, there was a 13-year gap in Predator film appearances, as the creature would not appear until 2004's Alien vs. Predator and its 2007 sequel, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, which a lot of people cannot stand. The main Predator franchise wouldn't return proper until 2010 with the release of the Robert Rodriguez-produced Predators. That was actually decent. It performed decently at the box office as well, at number 3 the same weekend that Despicable Me opened, and never got the planned sequel though. 2018's The Predator by Shane Black was supposed to be the big budget revival of the brand, but it fizzled out at the box office and was not popular with fans and critics. The producer must find a way to make Predator click with a modern audience. Now, I never saw the last Predator film. I heard it was pretty terrible, so it really kind of put me off on seeing it. I may have to go check it out just to see how terrible it was. It appears the producers have found a new interesting angle, though, one that will take audiences back to the very beginning. In an interview with Collider, producers John Davis and John Fox teased what is to come, with Fox comparing it more in tone with The Revenant than the previous films in the franchise. Davis elaborated, saying this will be the Predator's first journey to Earth, but has not yet revealed the time period. The first Predator encounter on Earth raises a lot of interesting questions on where the film fits in the timeline. Alien vs. Predator established that the Predators had contact with Earth and were worshipped by cultures like the ancient Egyptians, Mayans, and more. However, the status of the Alien vs. Predator films in the canon of both franchises has been ignored in both Prometheus and, of course, the Predator movie. So it is safe to say that they exist in their own separate universe. Sounds like the continuity is a bit continuity schmotnuity. Predator 2 featured the creature gifting Danny Glover's character a flintlock pistol dated 1715, suggesting predators have had contact with humans as far back as the early 18th century. Skull's original logline, before it was revealed as a Predator film, teased that it would take place before settlers took Native American land, meaning this could take place even before the date on that pistol. Skull looks to be taking the approach to the Predator franchise that Prometheus did for the Alien series. It will explore the first encounter with the title species and even drops the naming convention of the franchise to suggest a new chapter in the wider universe. If Skull is a success, it could lead to future Predator films being more period pieces that explore various human encounters with the Predator. The Predator could face off against pirates, 30s mob bosses, and various other points in human history that could keep the franchise going. Predator 5, or as it is now known, Skull, could mark the point where the franchise finds a direction. Now, my first question is, do we really need this? It seems like the Alien franchise, Die Hard, as we just talked about, Terminator, Predator, it seems like they've kind of all outlived their welcome at some point. At some point, you've got to let things go, I think. But if studios can find ways to bring them back and keep the story interesting, I understand why you do it, because, it keeps making money for the studios. Of course, this used to be, I believe, a Fox property, so I think it's under the ownership of Fox and Disney. As I mentioned earlier, maybe this is a franchise that you could make an R rating with, and, Disney's not known for R ratings, but this is a franchise I think, a darker tone is warranted for sure, and an R rating makes the most sense. So never say never on the Die Hard front, but because apparently we're getting a new wrinkle in the Predator franchise. As long as you can tell me a good story, I don't mind if you keep telling these movies, but it seems like, a lot of times you try to go to the well one too many times. Just ask Terminator how many times they tried to make that franchise work after the second film, Judgment Day, and it failed flat on its face. It failed miserably. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like Predator is kind of maybe reaching for that same brass ring that they can't seem to grab. So we'll just have to wait and see how this goes. But I'm personally not sure I'm looking forward to it, especially if that last movie is as bad as everybody says it was. But, you know, who's to say it won't be good? Who knows? But the real question here is, guys, what do you guys think about all these topics I've discussed here today? Do you think Star Wars has found the actors that are going to be portraying Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger, or do you think that rumor doesn't hold much weight and it's not going to actually happen? What do you guys think about the cancellation of Die Hard 6? Are you sad that the franchise appears to be over, or are you hoping they do another one coming up here in the future? And what do you think about Predator? Do you think it should also end, much like Die Hard appears to be, or are you excited about the prequel film entitled Skull? Please comment down below. Let me know, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. And until my next video, guys, take care.